So, further reading. With the writing meeting being as epic as it was, Olive's left feelings like they have even less information to go off of than before. Thankfully, an opportunity presents itself the day after, a chance to have a one-on-one discussion with one of the club's members. Okay. Yeah, it's feeling more like a slice of life one. Yeah, today we are like with the more slice of life ones. But as far as I remember, the first snow, I think it was slicey too. You had like some drama in there, slicey, but we had some drama, and it was a YURI one. I remember that. Yes. And in here they do say that we have like 4 girls that we can romance, I think, right? Let me just check it because I don't remember anymore. Which are Olive and Caprice. Which are Olive? No, Olive is us. Sorry. Caprice, Millie, Haley, and no. Oh no. It's only like the 3 of them then, right? Yeah, it's only the 3. 2 distinct core paths to travel, 6 members to. Maybe they really are more emphasizing the friendship kind of thing in here. Yeah, I'm not certain though. I don't want to be saying that you really can pursue them. I don't know if it's more into like the friendship and slice of life kind of thing. Yeah, I'm not certain. But the other one, it's like it's a free-to-play one, and I do think I remember having like a slice of life too. But I think it had some drama, and it was a YURI one, so not 100% sure. It's been a really long time. Friday, every student's favorite day of the week. Perhaps it's my imagination, but even as I head into the cafeteria, the chattering of the people around me takes on a slightly happier tone than the days before. As for me, my mind is still occupied with thoughts of clubs, classes, and my last-ditch gamble to survive the semester. My stomach grumbles, the smell of food from the tables only reminding me of my hunger. After skipping breakfast in my rush to get to school, I need something more than a cookie from the nearby cafe to get me through the day. The food here's nothing amazing, but I'm hardly picky. At least lunch will be a brief break from my worries where I can forget.
Olive!
Oops.
Olive, hey!
So much for that. Caprice waves at me from one of the tables. She has an uncanny knack for detecting my presence in a room, however crowded and busy it may be. I resign myself to my fate and take a seat as the woman next to her gives a small polite wave.
Hi, Olive.
The two make an odd contrast, Allison's shy, almost nervous greeting in stark difference to Caprice's overabundant energy.
So, managed to survive Millie's lecturing after we left yesterday?
It was pretty quiet and low-key. Nothing that extreme.
By quiet, you mean boring, right? Hey now.
Yep, it was boring and terrible. The typical writing club MO.
Now, Heather has appeared, which can only make things better. Even though she's decided to walk up and invite herself into our conversation, she doesn't seem all that interested in giving us her full attention. Engrossed in her phone as usual, she barely looks up to address us.
What?
Caprice is visibly annoyed, with Heather's only reaction being the corner of her mouth tugging upward. Heather's passion for pressing people's buttons doesn't stop with Millie, it seems.
Well, Olive, don't feel obligated to give them the time of day. We'll get you through the semester easy peasy. Right, Allie?
Yeah, of course.
Right again. The club is nothing more than a waste of space.
Hey! Nobody asked you!
What? We're agreeing, aren't we?
Heather's managed to frustrate Caprice into silence, as impressive a feat as any. She seems to notice my bemused reaction, face suddenly rebounding into a grin.
I still owe you a proper meeting. You'll come, right?
How do I keep getting caught in these conversations?
We'll see.
And all the ones after that?
Well, I...
Great! I'll see you then. I gotta take care of some stuff for the fair. Bye, Allie!
She shoots Heather one last venomous look before hopping out of her chair, beginning to head out of the cafeteria.
What about food?
Already ate! Bye!
How odd, must have just been keeping Allison company. Wait, what was that she mentioned about a fair? Before I can call out and clarify, Heather once again speaks up.
Why did you even come to our club when you were already playing house over with Mommy Caprice?
Allison takes to her feet and grimaces at the comment. I can't help but match her expression.
Please don't call her that.
Just keeping my options open.
This might be a good opportunity to help with that. I've got a member of each club in front of me, though not for long, as Allison picks up her tray of food and slips it into the nearby counter. Heather looks unmoved by Allison and Caprice's abrupt departure. She takes a seat at the table next to me, barely looking up from her phone. Occasionally, she'll sip from the can of soda she brought with her. She doesn't seem particularly enthused by the writing club, so I figured she wouldn't spare the unpleasant details. That said, Allison does seem like the honest type, even if she's more loyal. If I hurry, I can still catch her. So I'm in a bind in here. Why do I say that? If I go to Heather, we are going to continue with the writing club kind of thing. And so I was like, we could go to Allison, but Allison was part of the first game, right? So I'm like, you know, let's go to the art club then. Okay, Allison, to make it different. It's kind of funny. She has like freckles in her shoulders, and I have too. Yeah, I don't have in my face, but I think it's cute in the face, but I have like where she has, and I don't like it in there. Like, I think it's cute on the face, but not in there. Like, it doesn't look good. Heather is only half paying attention to me to begin with, so I quickly get up and skip over to Allison as she strides off. I have no intention of playing peacemaker, but it's striking how strong her feelings on the matter are.
Hey, Allison.
Allison turns to me, her frustration with Heather still simmering. She soon turns embarrassed at being caught fuming.
Hi. Sorry about Caprice running off.
No worries. She seemed busy anyway. Fair prep?
Yeah, we're all a bit behind schedule, so we've been kind of scrambling.
Heather gives a dry huh as she overhears the last of our conversation before wandering off towards the food counter.
She's always so rude.
Allison pouts at her back as she walks away.
Do you interact with the writing club much? Outside of yesterday, I mean.
Every now and then. More lately with this fair stuff. Not like Heather's much of a club member, though.
What exactly is the club fair about? I saw it advertised earlier last year, too.
There's not much to it. A bunch of the school clubs set up in the gymnasium and try to recruit people. Mostly freshmen who haven't been poached yet. Millie offered to share her space, so we're sneaking in this year.
If you have a way to get new people like that, why is Caprice so dead set on recruiting me?
Caprice is really serious about the club. But you've probably noticed that already. Honestly, she's serious about everything she does. She wants to get every person possible. A dream of hers is to grow and expand the club beyond even the huge existing one. And...
She trails off, suddenly going quiet as she thinks better of continuing.
And what?
to be honest with you, I prefer smaller groups. I'm fine with how things are. Nothing against you, though. You're free to join if you want. You'd love it, I'm sure. Everyone really is nice, and we have a lot of fun. Caprice is wonderful, too. I know she can be a little overbearing at times, but she always brings so much energy.
A little too much, maybe.
Yeah, honestly, too much for me. Too much.
Sometimes, sure. I get it. When I first met her, I thought she was pretty overbearing. I wouldn't really fault you for thinking that.
She's good at what she does, though, right?
Oh, absolutely. Everyone there is. I'm still learning, but they're always teaching me new things. But I guess what's happening is...
She taps her finger to her chin, pausing to give her next words some thought.
Caprice wants us to be a legitimate club. A club that's official, real, whichever word you want to use. We aren't much of one right now. We barely nudged our way into the fair. Even then, we kind of cheated to get there.
So do you actually even have like fairs for these clubs and all of it? I'm saying this, we don't have clubs in here. We don't, okay? You have like tons of hours of school, honestly, tons. And it's just like that, you go home and you go home to study, you know, like that. Or unless you have like, how do you call it? You know those places where you go to study too, but you always have like someone to help you, whatever. It has a name, but it's not coming to me. Which I didn't had. I would just come home and study. But it's more like that in here. Like we don't have clubs, okay? So when I see these, and I see these sometimes in the US, and I see these a lot in Japan, because... And in Japan, it has a real weight because they actually put that in their resume and it's actually important, okay? But we don't have it. And I'm even seeing like you even have fairs with it and all of it, okay?
If I join, will that even change anything?
Especially during college. Yeah, we don't have that. No. Yeah, no.
I don't know. It'd take more than one person, probably.
Yeah, during high school you might have like some places where they have, but during like college, no. Of course it would. More members would be helpful, but I wonder how many they'll even gain from an event like this. Then there's the fact that Allison here clearly doesn't want it. I wonder if I'll just be butting into some group of close friends more than joining a club.
Still, we're going to do our best. You should do what's best for you, too.
Thanks. Sorry for keeping you. I'll see you around.
Allison gives a quick goodbye before skipping out to try and catch up with Caprice. What I found might not have been what I wanted to hear, but at least she was honest. Now, time to actually get some food. I quietly mulled things over as I head to the food counter. The art club is close and friendly. They are small because it's like they are a group of friends trying to be a club. The writing club isn't much, but at least Millie seems capable and eager to help. It's probably better to not even consider Tanya and Heather as factors. I'm not sure if either is a good option. Hopefully this club fair will help me find better answers. With class still some time ahead of me, I find myself wandering the halls, going over my choices in my head.
Hey,
I just about bump into Haley, who is carrying some posters, board, and other materials.
Whoa. Hey, you need some help?
Without answering, she shoves some of her supplies in my direction, which I take. I already have a general idea of where she was heading.
The gymnasium, right?
smart. Come on, you've been drafted.
She goes, and I follow.
So, how'd the meeting go yesterday?
You didn't hear about it?
Oh, I heard tons of things. But I'm interested in your perspective.
I would love nothing more than a 5-minute mental break from Caprice and melee war. Unfortunately, it looks like something I won't be able to avoid anytime soon.
Well, I'm not even entirely sure what happened. It felt like a sudden whirlwind.
Yeah, sounds like them.
As we enter the large building, I see that the area has been filled with tables arranged in rows. There are students running about, reading their booths.
Hey, where are we
Redying.
taking all this?
I was like, I think it's redying, right?
Over here.
I follow her to a table, or what's supposed to be a table anyway. Instead, I find 2 smaller booths cramped inside the same small space, covered in red and blue cloth. One has a very formal-looking sign which reads creative writing. The other has a very slapdash sign simply reading art, clearly written by the same hand.
You get the rundown on how they're sharing a spot already?
More or less. I remember them packing up a lot more than just a couple tablecloths and posters, though.
The art club is off turning all that into brochures and other promo material for the 2 right now. This is all just bare bones stuff.
I'm surprised Millie trusts them enough to handle that.
Haley tucks her arm full of supplies safely under the writing club's desk. I follow suit, emptying my hands as she lifts the cloth up for me.
Millie gets along well enough with all of them. It won't be an issue.
Could have fooled me.
Things are just complicated right now is all. You saw how they were at the diner.
Are you talking about their friendly small talk or them trying to poach me from each other?
That's why I called it complicated.
She brings a hand to her headphones, debating pulling them over her ears. After a moment, she thinks better of it, deciding to instead lean lazily against the writing table.
You're committed at this point, right? You're gonna be picking one or the other?
Yeah, that's about as far as I've gotten in my thinking, though.
No particular feelings so far?
Ugh, tons of feelings. Most of them dread. It all sort of cancels each other out.
Well, good luck.
Wait, what's up?
That was just Millie stuff. Gotta head over to the art room now.
Want me to come with you?
I've got it covered, thanks.
Once again, the headphones coming up signify the end of the conversation. She pulls herself up from the table and starts making her way past me without any further elaboration. It may be impossible to decipher Millie and Caprice's goings on, but trying to get a read on their roommate is an entirely different experience. I debate sticking around to catch her again, but decide against it and make my way out of the auditorium, going out of my way to leave through the opposite doors. Okay. Okay, the story continues in the full game. Okay, do I need to click in here? With a weekend to reflect on both clubs and their leaders, Olive finds themselves no longer to a decision. The club fair is here, however, and time isn't willing to wait for them. With a deep breath, they consider their options one last time. So it doesn't.
So, have you made your decision?
Let's hear it!
Okay, it just does that to full. Oh, there's like it's like some extras or something. So before joining the art club that evening,
And so, to our newest member, Olive!
Caprice stands at the end of the table, raising her glass full of soda. Fortunately for the rest of us, her volume is just passable as an indoor voice. Unfortunately, she stands with such a gusto that the combined effect of her voice and movement draws the attention of almost every other table in our vicinity anyway. Content with playing along, the rest of the art club half-heartedly raised their own classes to match her, albeit with greatly diminished enthusiasm. The urge to shrink away into my vest grows by the second, and I only barely manage to resist it. Still, though, I can't help but sink into my chair just a little. Caprice is quick to notice, eyes quickly meeting mine, her smile as wide as it's been all night.
Come on, you too!
She's so full of energy, honestly. I feel the eyes of every single person around land on me. I give her a non-committal hand wave, but she just raises her glass even higher. She sure doesn't want to drop it. In an act of surrender, I hold up my cup as well.
Welcome to the club!
The rest of the club is less enthusiastic in their following welcomes. Allison and Wallace opt a quiet murmur of agreement, obviously feeling the attention from around us as well. Aylin's response is a simple grumble. Satisfied with the response regardless, Caprice extends her glass and takes a drink, ending her impromptu toast.
Pizza again, huh?
It's tradition! We gotta do this every time someone new joins the ranks.
It feels like if it wasn't attached to her face, Aylin's eyebrow would be leaving Earth's atmosphere.
Another tradition?
If we keep adding more, we'll be eating pizza more days than not.
Is that a problem?
Oh, so I'm just an excuse for a party. Something tugs at the back of my mind, but I shake it off for now. An excess of celebrations isn't that big of a deal, assuming we still get study groups together.
Now that Olive has decided to join our club, we're up to 5 members. And how many did that other club recruit? 0?
You don't need to point that out, sweetie. Oh, you don't.
Caprice.
I'm kidding. I wish only the best for them.
I wish I could believe her, but the grin on her face tells a different story. From the moment we've left the fair, she's been beaming with a kind of competitive sparkle only seen in athletes. I can't help but feel a bit weird about it. I do need the help, and I'm trusting her to be my best bet. Still, at the end of everything, I'm just a pawn. Caprice is trying to keep on the field.
Well, it was basically the flip of a coin.
Looks like.
So you say, but I'm sure you had your reasons. For example, it's clear we were the fun choice. Probably the most fun at the whole fair.
There are a lot of reasons, but I can't say that was one of them. It was mostly for the study help.
I don't intend on becoming your personal tutor.
Yeah, do you remember she had a personality? Yeah, I remember that.
I didn't really plan on that.
And I think it was because of that when I saw her, I recognized her. I was like, oh, wait, this girl was from the first game. Yeah.
Then you made the wrong choice. Caprice has been running us ragged since classes started back up last January.
Okay, assuming we still get study groups, Kavit hasn't gotten off to a great start. Helen takes a small sip of her beer before continuing her thought. I chance to peek at Caprice, who's suddenly gone quiet. She's struggling with a particularly large piece of pizza, trying to catch all the cheese before it slides off. Halen continues to seize the moment.
The ratio of asinine field trips we've been taking to actual studying is heavily not in your favor.
It's Allison's turn for a death stare, this time focused on Aelin. Surprisingly, Aelin's posture shifts and her face softens just enough to be noticeable.
Caprice should be the one to handle the bulk of it, since she roped you into this.
As long as I can pass the semester, I don't really care how.
My eyes shift downward, feigning interest in the slice of my plate as a smokescreen to think things over. I said I don't care, but so far this get-together has me feeling more nervous than I'll expected. There's vague offers of help here and there, but it's hard to imagine how much of that is genuine versus how easily Caprice seems to wrap others into her excitement. And that brings me back to the head honcho herself. The more I sit here and listen to current going-ons, the more I worry that perhaps I made this decision because I got wrapped up in her energy too. Like Aelin said, I'm here because of Caprice. It's too late to walk back that decision, so I have to trust her. Freed of her pizza, Caprice finishes all of her soda in one go and pipes back up.
None of that is important right now. We're celebrating! This is the beginning of a new year!
It's already fall.
Caprice grumbles in protest at Wallace's remark as she takes the hat from her head and wrings it out as if it were a wet rag, taking a moment to gather her thoughts. Yeah, I already told you this. It is different from you and us in here, and in Japan is like is the same thing as you. You start school at April, right? It's not like that for us in here. We start school at September. Right at the beginning of September, we start school. It's different. Any elementary, high school, college, any. It works like that. After the last imaginary drop is wrung out of the poor thing, she places it atop her head once more and her face lights up.
So here's the agenda going forward. We'll draw, create, and make more than ever before. And since Olive is just entering the world of art, we'll have to cultivate in them a love for it.
She looks at me and nods proudly, beaming. I feel the urge to remind her I'm looking more for study help than my own artistic awakening, but think better of it for now. Her eyes sweep across the rest of the table.
In the past year or so, we've only expanded more and more. It started with one, me. And then soon there were 3 of us. Allie!
Yes?
Allison sits up straight, startled.
With this club, you found a new love.
Allison looks red and nervous, eyes darting around the room. She briefly looks to Aelin for encouragement, who responds with a simple shrug.
Of the arts, you mean?
Yes, exactly. Beyond anything, the strongest power art has is to connect people. Where stuffy old words aren't enough, you can always count on the visual medium to bring everyone together. Speaking of which...
She starts moving her pointer finger from Allison to Aelin, who looks unperturbed. Allison slumps in her seat, relieved the attention is off her. I guess she hates to be the focus even more than I do.
Not another word.
Caprice's finger glides past Aelin and lands on Wallace, in a motion so clean you wouldn't think it was a last-second course correct. These two really know how to navigate each other well, even if they are like oil and water.
And not to mention Wallace. You see? This club makes artists!
Eileen and I were artists long before you dragged us in here.
Details! Point being, the club is more than capable of molding someone into an artist, and that's exactly what it's gonna do! That's you, by the way.
I feel like we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
So the plan is simple. Create! Everything else will come naturally.
Caprice stands with her hands on her hips, seemingly done and very pleased with her speech. It takes a minute for anyone to react.
Is that all?
Sounds fine to me. The sudden shift to dramatics made me worried something drastic was about to happen.
I believe in freedom of expression, but as usual, I'll be directing meetings to help inspire you. Inspiration can come from anywhere, and when it strikes, you have to capitalize!
I wonder how many of these inspirational lines come from the internet and how many she's trying to churn out on the spot.
That sounds good and all, but how will it help me pass her actual art class?
Oh, Olive.
She gives me such a sad, pitiful look, like I've just asked how to boil water.
To understand art, truly understand it, you have to experience it. Be immersed in it. There's no better way to do that than to be surrounded by it all the time.
But do you guys, like, actually study?
Yeah, I don't know about that. Seemingly trying to help the conversation, Allison raises her hand meekly to join in.
I took that class last semester. A big part of the finals is about exploring the fundamentals in your own way.
What, like actual art? So what's the textbook even for?
It'll be fun. You'll see. What's gonna be your focus, Allie?
I was thinking of trying to get into sculpting or something this semester.
Oh, I like the sound of that. Branching out is important.
Caprice emphasized drawing so much coming into this. I hadn't really considered that this club bothers with other arts forms. But then the Fine Arts Club at our school, which I didn't even have a chance to consider joining instead of this one, probably covers just about every form of art there is.
I've been trying some new brushes.
Wallace holds his phone up to show Aylin the screen. Allison curiously leans in to take a look too. I can see it from my angle, but trying to get closer to steal a look doesn't feel right with how new I am to this circle.
Huh, not bad.
I'm finding it very odd because it apparently, like, these clubs kinda also serve as a way for your grades. Is that, like, so confusing for me? It's totally different.
But man, a tablet just doesn't feel the same as the real thing.
I'm sure you'd be great once you got used to it.
I'm sure you would. As for me, I don't think I could ever go traditional. No undo. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, it's not, it's one of those things that I could search about just to have an idea, but I have no intention of, going back to school, or you understand? So it's like, with my age, it's more like, yeah, I could search about it, like, just to have a notion about it, but I have, like, no intention of going back to this type of world, so.
That's why we practice.
I'll just stick to digital. Thanks.
Aylin, the traditionalist, Wallace, the digital artist, and Allison, the experimentalist. Regardless of everything else, I could have done a lot worse than this variety if I was looking for help. As for Caprice, what does Caprice do? I've seen some quick sketches of hers in class, but I like to assume there's more to her than that. I guess it won't hurt to ask.
Hey, what kind of art do you do?
She gives me a mischievous smile.
Oh, are you curious?
Not for long.
She playfully taps my arm.
Oh, don't be like that. I made the posters and flyers for our club, of course. You saw some of my best work at the fair.
Are those her best examples? The posters were eye-catching, but they felt like technique had been swapped out with raw energy while creating them. I guess that's suitably on brand, but I'm not sure if pure energy and willpower are enough to help me brute force the actual technical know-how needed for a passing grade. Oddly though, those worries leave me briefly when taking in the pride and excitement she has when talking about them.
I can show you more during the next club meeting if you want.
Sure.
But only if you have something to show me in return.
I haven't even started yet, and she's already giving me homework. The thought alone of going home tonight and drawing something as simple as a straight line to present embarrasses me senseless. Nevertheless,
I'll try.
Act 1, work in progress. To be continued. Okay. So then we have like this one before joining the writing club. A few days later. It takes a moment for my eyes to adjust as I step out into the dazzling sun. It's a Thursday evening, and that means everyone with a life is leaving the grounds as fast as their legs can take them. Everyone else, myself included, is walking right back into the campus. I pick up my pace as I walk. I'd look bad if I was late to the club I just joined. Reaching the arts building, I wait for the flow of students escaping the day's classes to taper off before squeezing inside and leaving the beauty of fall behind. Looks like a full house today. As sad as the idea is, the only sound to be heard is the squeak of a marker on the whiteboard. Millie shots me a polite smile as she notices me enter before busying herself further with her very important work. Tanya rocks her chair while looking out the window. Heather apathetically plays with her phone, and Darren dutifully writes in her notebook. Taking off my backpack and swinging it beside me, I take a seat in the front row with the others, the only open seat being next to Heather. Can't imagine why. As the seconds roll by and at a loss for what exactly I'm supposed to do, I busy myself with looking around the mostly empty room. The really almost totally empty room. The desks are organized into a perfect grid. Spare pencils fill the pen holders on the benches around the room. The teacher's desk, commanded by Millie, is neatly organized with notebooks and folders. Everything is perfectly set up for the class ahead. Standing alone at the front of the room, Millie looks more like an actor playing a part in an empty theater than a club leader. She's taking her time comparing the notes in her well-worn journal to what she's writing on the board, but she's coming across as more nervous than diligent. In my wandering thoughts, I lock eyes with Heather for a moment. I offer a polite smile, being that we're in the same club for better or worse. It's worth at least trying to get along with her. I have a bit of a difficulty reading because it's a different type of font than what we are used to. It's a more cursive type of font, and it's different. It's not bad, and I think even like if you have some kind of what is the name of it? The dyslexia. I think you probably can read this one. I don't know. They have the option, okay? But I think it's a good font for that. But sometimes, like, I'm reading, I'm like, not so used to. It's just that, not so used to having this type of font in here. Rather than return the awkward greeting, she simply rolls her eyes and goes back to her phone.
Wow, the art club was that bad, huh? Caprice must have left a pretty horrible impression for you to end up here.
She doesn't look up from her cell as she talks, scrolling through her social feed way too fast to actually be reading anything on it.
What? No, it's not that. This just seemed like a more legitimate club. At the time.
Heather scoffs at that, half smiling in a way that mocks more than words possibly could.
What is it we're actually meant to do? Beyond writing, that is.
Show up every Tuesday and Thursday. So long as we have an extra warm body in the room, the club doesn't get killed off.
The snap of Millie's notebook closing takes my attention, our teacher turning back to the classroom. Heather pointedly turns slightly away from me, ending the conversation.
Welcome to another meeting, members new and old. I'll get right into it since I know everyone's busy. Everyone will do some writing today on a topic they'll choose. You can finish your stories off after the meeting if you don't find the time today. At the next meeting, we'll share our work with each other. That'll help us all gauge where we're at in our writing skills and what we'd like to focus on going forward.
It's funny that it's like I keep noticing that you say gauge. It's gauge, but it's written like gauge. It's funny, right? But you keep having like these words that I see that they are written in a way, and you say them in another way, not in the way that they are written. Messes with my mind. Unlike the dead silence from earlier, Millie's trying to project her voice in a loud and clear way, even if it's only to the four of us. Whatever issues the club may be having, I'm reminded of why I thought it was the better choice. She's earnest and at the very least gives off the air of a good teacher.
Question, Miss Clark. How long does the story have to be?
Only as long as you want. This isn't classwork.
Lucky us.
Unlike Tanya's somewhat rehearsed sounding participation, Heather isn't even hiding that she intends to do nothing. Darren looks like he's copying down the notes on the whiteboard, copying down the notes on the whiteboard, so that leaves only me left as Millie turns towards my direction.
If you need any help, don't hesitate to ask.
I don't know where to even start, to be honest. I haven't read a book on my own time since 5th grade. I'm better at more logical subjects. The arts aren't really my thing.
The world isn't so neat that everything can be divided up into logical or creative sorts. A blank page is always a writer's worst enemy, but this is a writing club, not a workshop. We can work through it together.
She closed her eyes, giving serious thought as how to best make do with my less than useful outlook. To my surprise, it doesn't take before her eyes reopen a newfound sparkle in them.
Tell me, where do you think a story should start?
The beginning?
Wrong. A story starts with a plan. A story without a plan is just a meandering series of sentences.
I wasn't prepared for this passion. Glancing sideways to see if this is considered normal, my neighbor sits there unfazed, apathetically scrolling her phone. That answers that then.
So, let's start at the real beginning. The highest layer of writing a story. An idea. Someone give me a one-sentence idea for a story. No details at all, just the elevator pitch.
A knight saves a princess from a castle.
It's just like typical. Tanya jumps up, suddenly looking away, more excited. She smiles at Millie's claps. She smiles as Millie claps her hands together and writes it on the board. Yeah, it's the font, and sometimes I get like... I appreciate her input. The atmosphere of the room changes ever so slightly in the spirit of collaboration.
Excellent. That's a high-level story concept. Ideas are quick and easy to come up with, but finding one you're excited about is the most important part. Now, down to the next layer. What 3 things should any story have?
She pauses and looks back at all of us. Tanya sits back down and looks around to the rest of us for help. Seeing me look entirely lost and Darren avoiding her eye contact, Tanya gives Heather's desk a small kick. Well, a regular kick. Heather responds with an annoyed and glares at the ceiling as she responds. Consider everything about Heather, that was a pretty tame response. I wonder how often something like this happens.
Introduction, conflict, resolution.
Thank you, Heather. Now, Tanya's story about the knight and the princess needs an introduction, a conflict, and a resolution. Darren, could you fill that out for us?
I guess it'd be... The knight and the princess's situation is set up for the introduction. The conflict is the idea itself. The knight has to save the princess. Then, I guess the resolution is for the princess and knight to get married and live happily ever after.
To be honest, it doesn't actually have to go through this way. And I study literature, I can tell you it doesn't. Because you can start like in media res. In media res is a Latin expression that says in the middle of the thing. Okay, so you can actually start a story by the middle of the story and continue through there, explaining along the way the part of the introduction. Okay, so you can actually start like that. Also, a story doesn't actually have to have a resolution in there. It can give you like a cliffhanger, preparing you for another part that is not still in there. So it doesn't actually have to follow this type of a setup.
Almost there, but the conflict needs to be an obstacle to reaching the conclusion. Why does the princess need saving? What's in the way of the two being together?
Usually, it'd be something like a dragon has her locked up.
Good, but now this story feels a little too formulaic. How about for the assignment this week, you all write the story of the princess and the knight with your very own twist. Something to make the story uniquely yours. There's one last layer before we start writing in earnest. We have our outline, but now we need to attack the structure. How do you approach a big project? We need to take our story outline and break it up further into chapters. If you like TV shows, think of them as episodes, or maybe as different scenes from a play. How about 3 chapters, or just paragraphs for a short story, between each of the introduction, conflict, and resolution? You can change that as you go if things don't feel right, but that gives us a framework to hang our story on. There, does that look like something you can write?
I can kind of see it in my head now. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't take it in this way. I think the first thing you need to establish is how do you want to approach your story? Do you want your story to be a story that is seen by the character, the protagonist? Or do you want a story where you're going to have a narrator actually explaining the story to others? You should start by that. Are you going to be the narrator of your own story, or are you going to have a narrator for your story? Do you understand? Like, do you want a first view, or you want a third view of the situation? I think you should always start by that. Okay, then like you start thinking about what kind of theme you want to start building upon, and it doesn't actually have to have a real conflict. It doesn't. It can just have it can just be a situation that appeared, and it doesn't have to be like a situation that is very conflicted about it. So I think when it's like the first time that you're writing something, it's even best if you start writing it, and it's always best if you start writing it in the first person, like something that you would experience, and actually start writing by writing something that you actually experienced. It's a lot easier for us to start at the beginning, of course, in the creative writing. It's better for you to start by writing something that you can connect with than actually like a fantasy world, like in here, where you're like, oh, now I have to imagine the princess is in this situation and the knight is in that. It's better if you just write about like an everyday type of situation that you can't even fantasize that situation into like, oh, the knight and the princess. But imagine it was something that happened to me, so it's easier for me to actually put it into a story at the beginning. Okay, when you're when you have like no idea how to actually do creative writing, it's a lot better. Okay, so I wouldn't put it like this.
This whole process doesn't feel very creative, though. I mean, carefully dissecting a story into layers and components feels a bit clinical.
A sparkle shines in her eyes. I've stumbled into something she wanted me to work out for myself.
So clinical that you might say it's almost logical.
Tanya gives an amused snort for the other side of the class, and even Darren smiles a little at that. She got me. She was leading me to that this entire time. Millie leans back on the desk behind her and lets me stew for a moment.
There's no clear line between creativity and logic. You need both to write, or make any sort of art. To paint a person, I imagine you need to understand anatomy. To write a story, you need to understand structure and how readers will think.
Yeah, but I wouldn't take it in that way. Like, if it was like your first time writing in a creative way, I would actually, myself, as a person, I've studied literature, and I would tell you, like, start with something you feel incredibly open to do. Do you understand? Like, more cozy to do. Don't start with something that already has like a structure and this and that. As you go along and you start feeling like, oh, I actually like to write, I like to start creating like these little stories, little things I like, then I would be like, then let's push it further, let's create the structure of it, because you do need that structure. You need to start thinking about, like she was saying, those chapters and how you're going to engage your audience in certain ways. Do you understand? Like, I wouldn't push it like that right at the beginning. This is like pushing right at the beginning.
Don't get hooked up on being as imaginative and original as you can. Just practice. Write badly. After a while, you'll come to intuitively understand why some things work and others don't. Like a driver slowly learns to work a car without thinking about how they're doing it.
Yes, I wrote novels. It was for teens. It's what we call a juvenile literature in here. Yeah. It had a bit of fantasy, not that much. They had some fantasy.
And when you're stuck, you can always talk it out. Giving each other feedback is the most important and fun part of writing. So take some time to plan it out, think of your knight and princess, and ask around if you're stuck. We can all share our stories next Tuesday.
The room's already awash in the orange of sunset by the time I sit up to take a break. With the meeting winding down, the rest of the members having largely stopped paying attention to their notebooks, I look down at my own. A truly awful mess of words looks back up at me. Stuff like this makes me question the entire premise of writing. How can I mess up so badly at doing the very thing I did back in high school English? With that said, I can't deny that breaking down the story, as Millie said, has already helped a lot with the entire process. I think back to the literature textbook sitting somewhere in my apartment. The language was more difficult, but the whole point of class has been about finding author intent and how it's successful. I'm still not confident in being able to identify what makes a good story, but having the vocabulary to start thinking about its components is a relief. As much as this seems like basic stuff, I can't help but be a bit annoyed at myself again for checking out all during my high school English classes. My saving grace right now is Millie, who seems more than happy to use club time as a teacher rather than a fellow club member. The ruffling of papers as people pack up makes it clear everyone else is either done for the day or giving up. Following their lead, I slip the pens and paper into my bag. With Darren still fuzzing about, Heather preoccupied with her phone, and Tanya chatting with Millie while sitting on the teacher's desk, it looks like I'm the first out as I give our leader a quick wave while passing.
Oh, before you go.
I stop in my tracks, having so nearly escaped. My sight of Millie's hand, happily outstretched, palm up, confuses me.
Yes?
Phone.
My eyes narrow at the request.
I just wanted to take down your number and put in contacts for the others.
Even though she doesn't seem the type to text nonstop or call at random hours of the day, a part of me is dreading giving someone I've only just met my number. It might be helpful to have on hand in case I have an actual writing class question, though. Reluctantly, I pull the phone out of my pocket and hand it to her.
Why do you have everyone's numbers anyway? Don't you meet twice a week?
As she finishes up, Millie gives an alarmingly large grin as she places my phone back into my palm. This is another thing that you have, that do not expect us to be giving you our phone, even if it's like to put contacts. We do not do that. That in hell, no way I'm going to give my phone to another person just for her, he, them to put their number in there. No way. As I already told you, in here we do not do that. Like, you can tell us or send a message with the number. We are not going to give our phone to another person. And I told you already, the only place where we do that, we give like our phone, is the pharmacy, because like sometimes you have the prescriptions on your phone and they need to like use a certain code that is in there. And so we lend our phone to the pharmacist so they can see like that code, and that's it.
Ah, but that's not all we do.
Millie turns back to the club members, all stopping what they are doing as she proudly puffs her chest out.
To welcome in our new members, I'm announcing the first group outing for the reorganized writing club.
So Act 1, pen to paper. To be continued, like the other one. So we are still missing, let me tell you, we are still missing one in here, which is like, remember like the scene that was in here? Torn in two. Shortly before the events of TwoFold, Haley and her roommates share an awkward breakfast together, while Capricci and Millie move forward to meet the day. Haley is instead focused on the past. But I'm not going to do this one. I'm going to tell you why. I'm having like people making a lot of noise right next to me. I don't know if you heard some noise already, because they are doing some kind of management, construction, whatever you want to call it, that like right next to me and my neighbors. So it's a lot of noise. It's even like, I was even reading and it was like messing with me because it's a lot of noise in here. You may not be hearing so much because the microphone is more focused to where my mouth is, but there's a lot of noise right now. So we're going to end the demo in here. We will only be missing like this tiny little part, which was the extra one, not actually like part of the real demo. This is apparently it's just an extra. So we're going to finish in here. I think it's very different from the other one. Yeah, I've been noticing like it's different. I feel like it's more like the friendship, the slice of life kind of thing, while the other one was, I would say that it was more into the Yuri thing. So this one I'm feeling like it's different, and I don't even know, I'm not certain by now by reading what they said in their page, if this would be considered a real Yuri one. Okay, so I don't actually know if you can end up actually dating these three people. Yeah, I don't know, because the only thing that they say is that you have these two distinct core paths, which is between the art club and the literature, creative writing, and you have like a friendship going on in here. So I brought this one as a Yuri one, but I'm not certain if I should fit it in there. I'm going to put it anyway, but we will see along the way. Okay. So that's it for today, and tomorrow, let me see what I'm going to do tomorrow. We're probably going to go back to some BL ones. Okay, I think we're going to yeah, I think it's a good balance. We're doing like a BL one, then a YURI one. It's kind of like balance things. And I already got 3 more. They were like recommendations for me of the Otome games. Yeah, so I got like 3 recommendations, and I think we are going to go into those before I dive into another thing. Okay, so, but we are going to keep with the YURI and the BL ones. I only have like, I don't know, 10 of them, even less, like having in count that we finished 2 today. So it's probably like 8. So you don't have to worry about that. I know all of you prefer to do the Otome games, but I want to do these ones too. There are people in here that want me to do them too, and I am totally happy to do them. So we are going to continue with these ones, and then we're going to go back to the others. Okay, so that's it for today, and thank you very much for being in there. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.